Black History Month comes to a close this weekend, but at the same time, one chapter of Texas's civil rights legacy is opening back up. A long-suppressed book about politics and race in Dallas is growing in popularity, even has its own Twitter handle. CBS News producer Rodney Hawkins shows us why the resurgence of the Accommodation is so important to so many.
It was as if the civil rights movement had never happened.
Retired columnist Jim Schutz is shocked by his first book's newfound fame after it was originally canceled.
I feel like my book is this weird stone tablet that somebody found.
I mean, it's being bought on Amazon for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Which is crazy. I hope nobody pays that money.
Schutz wrote The Accommodation in 1985. He says publishers dropped the controversial book shortly after its release for fear of retaliation. It chronicles the bombings of black Dallas homeowners integrating a white working-class community in the 1940s and 50s, and the deal made to stop desegregation.
Okay, we're going to build a really nice new suburban-style residential development for the black middle and professional and business class. It'll be segregated, of course. This is the white establishment speaking to the black leadership. You guys are going to back off all this integration stuff. And the black leadership basically said, great.
That neighborhood is Hamilton Park. Resistance to integration persisted decades later.
Dallas is not alone in facing changes.
City leaders used every tool to ease racial tensions, including a film narrated by CBS's own Walter Cronkite in 1961.
Dallas is a good city, and we want to keep it that way. Together, we will show America the Dallas way.
Reverend Peter Johnson of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference was a source for the book. He came to Dallas for a brief assignment and never left.
I had been told before I got here, whatever you do, don't help the black community in Dallas.
That's shocking to hear. Why would someone say that?
This was the only black community in America that officially boycotted a speech by Dr. King.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. only gave one speech in 7 years to a Dallas church youth group. He finally came back in 1963 to a divided city, 11 months before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Reverend Johnson's boss at the time, Andrew Young, had a sobering message for the 23-year-old before coming to Dallas in 1969.
His words were, they kill the president of the United States in Dallas, Peter, they'll kill you down there.
This is the history hiding in the pages of The Accommodation, and why Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price fought to republish it.
How would you describe the book?
Real and no change.
Currently?
Yeah. When you look at the economics, do you realize, what I fight from this podium is I'm still talking about inclusion and diversity and being able to participate.
I'm glad to see people just being able to get their hands on the thing.
The book, after more than 3 decades, will be republished later this year, and comes at a time when many question why the city is still racially divided.
When this regeneration of interest in my book started 10 years ago, I just didn't get it at all.
Why were you surprised by it?
Well, I just figured the book was forgotten, over and done with. Plus, all the people who wanted to talk to me about it were young, like 20 and 30-somethings.
The 75-year-old is excited to give these new readers historical context.
I actually asked my wife at one point, I said, if a guy my age gets suddenly optimistic, is that one of those 7 deadly warning signs for issues? And she said, you're not that optimistic.
He's still a skeptic, but this time he's hoping Dallas makes an accommodation for a brighter future. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Rodney Hawkins, Dallas, Texas.
You know, my grandmother's from Dallas. I have lots of friends from Dallas, and it was such a separate city for people, and people, rose to the occasion, but separately.
I think you have to understand, we've said this so much, but you really do have to understand what has happened in the past if you want to change the present. And as he talked about, that's still going on right now.
And hey, great job, Rodney.
All right.
Nice to see Rodney Hawkins with the piece there. Good job, buddy.